If you've got your health and mental state, you've got everything. The
Yes.
money, the status, the friends.
Yes.
That's where life is.
I love that.
So
Oh, yeah.
You stay focused, girl.
Absolutely. I love
Stay
that so much.
focused.
I know. Today we're going to talk about mental health. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Frank, thank you for being here with me today. This is a really special episode because She Shield has been my pride and joy. It's the podcast that kind of thwarted me into this industry in a way that I could have never imagined. I never even thought we would do video, never really thought we'd have a social media. It just started as a friend of mine and I putting together some episodes to help people get resources that we wish we would have had at the beginning. And it exposed me to some incredible people and brands like Right to Bear, and the brands that decide to support it along the way means so much to me because podcasts are a hard thing to support. Like you can't really track ROI that well. Like you can have a link and everything, but it usually just takes the brand believing in the mission and the tone and reaching the same audience that you all decided to support the podcast. And it means the world to me because it is truly my role. It's my pride and joy. So just first off, thank you for supporting the podcast. You all, this is Frank with Right to Bear, and if you all have heard the ads show in the episodes, and you've wondered a little bit more about that, this is the reference episode for that. I'm going to talk to Frank about what Right to Bear is and his life story, and I'm just so excited because it means the world to me that you would support what I'm doing, even though we're not very big yet, but imagine what will happen when we're so big that it's like Right to Bear has been here from the beginning. So,
I want to say what an honor. Followed your work through our dear friend Trayvon Barber, and man, I want to thank you for your heart because your heart shines through your work. It's a blessing, and it's one relationship at a time. It's one day at a time, and one difference maker at a time. But I can tell you, you talk about being small. 3 years ago, Sophia, we had a small table and a sign about this big that said Right to Bear, and now we have our own conference room, our own setup.
Yes.
And listen, if I could tell you how blessed I am, and then to be with you, what a blessing.
So
thank
very
you for
sweet
having
of
me.
you. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yes, this is such a nice booth. Guys, we were at SHOT Show 2026.
Yeah.
They were nice enough to let me host my podcast here. I've never hosted my podcast outside of my apartment. And so this is an incredibly, it was a bit of a challenge, but to have a place to land here, to be able to come to a quiet place.
Special.
Which is like, quiet, as much as you can get quiet at SHOT Show, like this is a blessing. And yes, I'm so thankful. I've gotten to have some really just wonderful and eye-opening conversations so far here, and it's been really nice to tell the guest speakers about Right to Bear in a very organic way. Doesn't feel like forced at any point. So speaking of, first of all, I'd like to start with you. I do that with every guest speaker I bring on. It's not about the brand or the sport so much as how did you come about your presence in this industry, and then we'll just kind of unwrap from there.
Well, thank you. I'm an old guy, an old sportsman that loves to hunt and fish.
Okay.
And 38 years in the insurance business, and I had a partner, and we sold a business, an insurance firm, to a national conglomerate. And one of our clients was a venture capital group that I just posed the question to one day, hey, why aren't you offering a product to your membership base? About 48 hours later, their chief counsel called, said, let's sit down and talk. And about 6 months into that conversation, Right to Bear was formed. And I can tell you that after taking a glimpse and a study of our competition, and by the way, we've got some enormous competitors. We admire them. We believe in them. We believe they help pave the way for us to honestly have the heart to try and do it better, and we've done that. But Right to Bear was formed, and we went from a little table and a scrim about 2 feet wide to this setup, and talking with Sophia. So we just feel so blessed.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So we started a legal defense for self-defense protection association that's the fastest growing in our sector in the country.
That is so exciting.
And it is our heartfelt desire to approach every opportunity from a servant's heart. I will tell you, we are a faith-based company.
Absolutely.
And we just believe that God is just doing enormous things through our opportunity to serve others. And we're doing it in a different way. And I spoke to you earlier about our culture. We've established a culture within our Right to Bear family that's unfounded. And I'm excited to share that with you today.
Absolutely, please do. And I would love, if you don't mind, just to ensure we have kind of a point of clarity, what separates a membership with Right to Bear from a policy that is kind of strictly an insurance policy, if you don't mind?
Great question. So we are technically Right to Bear Association, and we're a membership of members where we actually take the funds that we earn and place them into a membership pool that protects their risk. And we do have an insurance policy that sits over the association in case we ever need it, but we don't have to follow the language of an insurance policy, which mostly dictates black and white coverage solutions. We have the ability to be a little bit more flexible and adaptive for our members when they need us most. So I'll give you an example. Right to Bear, again, unlimited civil and criminal defense for our members in the event that they need us. And we have the ability to cover any means of self-defense necessary. So I want to repeat that because I think it bears importance.
Right.
We cover any means of self-defense necessary. So Sophia, we know in statistics tell us that in a home invasion, 67% of the time, firearms owners can't get to their weapon in time to defend themselves. So if you've got to use a baseball bat or a knife or your hands, we cover you.
Very nice.
Here's another example. Mother or a daughter is traveling, baby in the back seat, they get carjacked at a red light. If you've got to use that vehicle as a weapon, we're going to cover you. Insurance policies typically can't do that because in the policy language of an insurance contract, it says intentional acts are excluded. We don't have to live by that language. So we want mothers, daughters, grandmothers, we want them in a carjacking situation to never exit the car because nothing good ever happens when that happens in the hands of a criminal.
Right.
So we're about protecting the best interest of our members. And so that association ability and not an insurance policy allows us so much more flexibility. So great question.
Absolutely. And it sounds, I know a limited amount about this process. I've heard of course, some of our most popular brands in the industry that are insurance policies. And if I'm being honest, I've kind of avoided sharing too much because I didn't read those 50 pages of policy that they like offer to email you if you want to read it, but like also you could just sign up and never really know the terms. And I remember, I've been approached by a few of them, and I remember, it's always the same feeling when a brand approaches you. You're like, you're like seeing my potential. That's nice. And then you think about it and you're like, well, if I had a member or a follower sit down with me and ask me specific questions about why I'm working with them, I don't know that I could answer those. And I don't know that I could do it in good faith, but I haven't felt that with Right to Bear. I felt very supported on understanding who you all are and how you align with my mission. I view self-defense from a holistic standpoint. And I kind of attribute that to my upbringing. I have a father, but the way he raised me was to look at health from a holistic manner. Everything from adding minerals back into water to getting blood work every 6 months and to looking into the research as to why that range, that healthy range of blood work is what it is and not just trusting the hospital system. Like read about everything, he's a triple boarded physician. And when I was going to medical school, and when I was in medical school, I had this drive to just look at a patient as a whole, and I see self-defense the same way. It's everything from all the way from verbal de-escalation to potential use of non-lethals to possibly the use of lethal force to the aftermath. And that's, of course, first aid is a big one in there too that I'm starting to realize I need to kind of offer to my followers more. But I really love that now I can send people to you all to have not only help in the financial and legal crisis that is having to protect your life, which, whether or not it should be. That's how we, are today. But also, you guys have a direct line of communication with your members more than any brand I've heard of, as well as psychological support. That's kind of what sold me, if I'm being totally honest with you. Besides the faith-based thing, that means a lot to me, of course. I'd really like to go into that, if you don't mind. Why did you choose to offer that to people, even when it's not probably the most convenient thing? I would think that that's another resource you have to, have on retainer, and you all are already so affordable. So how did you go into supplying something like psychological support, if you don't mind?
So, our opportunity to serve is a mission and a ministry for us, and the well-being of our members is of the utmost importance. So when we studied our competition, it was important that we had the ability to make absolutely certain that our members were in a great place after a traumatic event. And that counseling, that support for PTSD or the trauma they may be experiencing is of the utmost importance to us. And I want to give you a glimpse of that if I can.
Please.
Sophie, I've told you off camera that we get directly involved in our members when they have a traumatic situation. So if they call our emergency hotline, they always get a live attorney. It's so important that they have client attorney privilege from the very moment that phone is dialed. So Christmas morning at 1:30, our attorney was on the phone with one of our members with a traumatic situation. Well, after they do the complex work of setting up the file, doing their due diligence, they call me. And that's when we go into action. I call the member, pray with them, offer to pray with them. We've never had anybody say, no, I don't want you to pray.
That's wonderful.
And then I remind them, hey, there's counseling sessions paid for. And I want you to be really, really taken care of. So if you're feeling some anxiety about the situation, if you're feeling some depression, if you're struggling with this trauma, let's get you some help. I don't want to get emotional with you,
yes,
but
please,
I flew over here Monday from South Carolina. When I got off the plane, I had a message to call one of our members in Colorado, and he said, Mr. Cannon, he said, I just finished my 40th counseling session.
Oh my goodness.
And he said,
take your time.
I'm not sure I'd have made it. He said, I'm not sure I'd have made it.
Yeah.
That's what we live for.
Absolutely.
People don't expect or ever prepare to use that weapon.
Yeah.
And when they've got to do it, there's consequences, and sometimes they're not fun. And so when you start losing sleep, when you start struggling with your mental health, to say, could I have done something different? That professional help comes in to be a significant player in what we're about. It's about our culture, but then that communication with the member, the prayer time, the focus on their well-being, that's who we are at Right to Bear.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Oh my goodness! Wow, 40 sessions.
40 sessions, yeah.
Woo.
And that's an investment
It is.
in the good of making sure that our members understand the importance of how we feel about family.
Absolutely.
So,
yes. Oh man, there's so many directions I want to go in. First of all, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What an emotional load behind or before such a, I tried to combine those two words, before such a long and laborious week. So that's so incredible that you make time for them. That's one of my favorite things to throw into the content I post for Right to Bear, that I always say Frank gives you a personal call, and it's really lovely to hear that from your mouth. So thank you for sharing that. I'm a big advocate of mental health. I've been in therapy for actually 9 years now, which is crazy to imagine.
No, but listen.
But
that's awesome.
I haven't had a session in like 3 weeks because the
we
prep for SHOT Show. We just did, didn't we? That's so funny. That's so funny. And I mean, I think I've taken a total in those years 3-4 months off. I see mental health as like a lifelong pursuit, kind of like your relationship with Christ and your relationship with concealed carry. Like, it's just a lifelong journey. And I'm a big believer in like, my best friend is my biggest supporter, and anytime I do something wrong, she'll be like, "You're perfect, you're fine," and I'm like, and like I know that you should always be honest with me as well. But it was really nice to have something objective and someone who studies like how the mind works, because we are such complex beings, and when we have something traumatic happen, it's such a ripple, and if we don't stop that, or at least just take control of it by talking to a professional, it can just get so out of hand. So I really love that about you all. Really sets you all apart. Haven't heard of that anywhere else. I mean, do you know of any other policies that offer that type of support?
There are some.
There are some.
I can tell you. But what separates us?
Yes.
And again, you've heard me say,
yes,
even on camera, off camera, from time to time, I just have so much admiration for a competition. But we do it different with the personal approach.
Right.
It's a tough situation when someone's being charged, for example, with manslaughter, or let's just say one of our heroes in blue that's charged with police brutality, and all of a sudden they're dealing with an attorney they've never met.
Right.
They're praying that that attorney's going to have their best interest at heart.
Right.
And then I call them and say, "Hey, things are going to be okay.
Yes.
We got your back."
That's so lovely.
So I talk about our culture, but our culture's real.
Yes.
It's who we are. It's family. It's about relationships.
Right.
I think the one thing missing in our industry is, there are probably, the government will tell you there's probably 100 million households with guns. I say it's more like 250 million. There's only about 1.3 million people right now with a legal defense policy. And so we've got an abundance of opportunity here. So no matter where you are, I hope you'll get coverage, whether it's with us or with you. I hope when you preach your message and to share with others from the heart, I hope you'll let them know, hey, look at the policies, understand what the culture is. Right to Bear is a great organization.
Absolutely.
We're a great family, and we approach things from a servant's heart. That's what makes us different.
Absolutely.
But I hope that if you don't have coverage, you'll get it.
Yes.
Because
don't
truthfully,
worry, I'm covered.
There's a million, opportunities out there. So
absolutely. And where does your personal drive come from to be part of something like this and to help people?
That's an interesting question. My spiritual gift is service. And I've taken a lot of time to really let that sink in for me. I will tell you, I'm an old musician. I'm an old performer back in the days when I had hair.
Oh my goodness!
But let me tell you,
okay, I'm ready.
It took me a while to let God pull that ego and that pride out of me and say, "Hey, Frank, your spiritual gift is service. Go find an opportunity to serve."
Right.
And so when I'm able to make that call to a member that just finished their 40th counseling session, I had a situation I want to share with you.
Please do.
We had a member not long ago that his mother called me and said, "My son is incarcerated overnight for manslaughter." And my initial reaction to the conversation was, "Where's this going? I don't feel good about it." And the more she told me about the story, the less good I felt about it. Shame on me. Because I took a step back, and I'm not perfect. I'm a sinner saved by grace. But I looked at the whole circumstance and I said, we need to give this time. So I assigned counsel to the mom to represent the son so that we could figure the case out a little better. My initial reaction was that it was likely a drug deal gone bad and we weren't going to be able to cover it. The more I got into it, the more we realized the member was set up, and he wasn't able to tell us from jail. He had actually planned on meeting a young lady for a date that he had never met. She told him where to meet him. He got to the location, and when he rolled down the window to greet a gentleman that he thought was associated with her, the gentleman put a gun on his neck.
Oh no.
And went to rob him.
Oh no.
So our member
Horrifying.
had to take action with his firearm.
Right.
And he left the scene out of fear.
Right.
And
Sure.
24 hours later, they arrested him. After this case unraveled, 3 days went by. Through text messages, the young lady that set him up was arrested.
Oh my
The whole
goodness.
deal unfolded.
Oh my goodness.
And we were able to get him to a position of bailed out, back with family,
Oh my
secure,
goodness.
and taken care of.
It's incredible.
So the lesson of never judging a book by its cover or never knowing what the case
Chills.
is
Yeah.
is eye-opening for us.
Yes.
But I will tell you, this happened around Easter of this past year, about a week or two before Easter. And on Easter Sunday, I went to sunrise service with my wife and daughter and son-in-law, and we were at brunch in Charleston, South Carolina. My phone rings. I have lots of folks that I call, so I don't always recognize the number, and I
Sure.
answered it. And it was the mother and son on the line. And he had just gotten bailed, and they were just saying, I'm grateful.
That's wonderful.
Those are the moments we live for.
Absolutely.
The moments where we know we're making a difference in the lives of those we serve.
Absolutely.
So, thanks for letting me share that.
Ooh, yeah. Thank you for sharing that story. That's an incredible example. And I don't know if this is something you're able to share. How do you get access to all of the information in, say, a case in order to make a judgment on how involved right to bear should be? Is this something you can talk about?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
So when our member or a family member calls our emergency hotline, obviously they're going to always talk to a Second Amendment attorney live.
Right.
That attorney is going to do a really good job up front of providing them wise counsel, whether it's the family member or the member. He or she's usually going to talk directly to the officers on the site.
Okay.
And then we are going to work directly with the case manager of the facts.
Right.
And then we're going to gather the facts in the association. We're going to come back, and my partner, Perry Orth, and I, along with our legal counsel, is going to sit down and have a call about the facts and to make sure that this is in the realm of protection for our membership base. And sometimes the facts don't always align.
Sure.
I can tell you though, in the 4 years of existence, we've had a lot of claims. We've only denied 2 claims. We want to try and
Really?
find a way to serve our members. We want to find a way to protect our members. We're not perfect,
Absolutely.
but our record speaks for itself.
Yes.
The 2 cases that were denied were simply not self-defense issues. They were more prideful issues where the member simply, had a bad choice.
I understand.
Yeah.
I was hoping to ask you about that, so I'm very thankful that you explained that already. I had sorry, I had like 50 things and they all came to my
Good.
brain at once. Here we go. Yeah, I know, right? That's always the best. I haven't had an episode in a while where I've been like, what do I ask? But I'm more so ADD. I have ADD, in other words, and I have to like...
That's a gift.
It is a gift, right? It's a superpower nowadays.
Yeah.
And anyway, but with that said, how do you navigate state to state legal differences as well as national law for a member?
Great question. So we do have legal counsel in every state.
Okay.
Now, there are 3 states that we don't currently operate in.
Okay.
New York, New Jersey, and Washington State.
Oh.
You'll hear it first, right here. We're moving into Washington State within the next 60 days,
Oh, that's so
probably.
exciting.
So we'll be able to
Okay.
serve the members of Washington
Wow,
State,
congratulations.
gain some new family members.
Woo-hoo.
What a blessing.
Yeah.
Shout out to our dear friend Bill Kirk. Not sure if you know Bill, Washington Gun Law.
Yes, he's coming
Great.
on the episode or the
Great.
show tomorrow.
What
so
a great individual.
Yes.
What a great person.
Yes.
Like you. He's
Thank
just
you.
a great soul.
Yes, he is.
A mound of knowledge and an attorney. But we have wise counsel around the country that leads us in the laws of a particular situation. And you know what's interesting, Sophia? We made a conscious decision years ago that unlike some of our competitors that say you have to use our legal team, we want to make sure that our membership base knows that if they want to use their own attorney, they're welcome to do that.
Okay.
And here's why that's important. If you're in Gurdon, Arkansas, and you have a self-defense case, and the DA is your brother-in-law. Don't we want to use someone that has a ton of relationships in that area and experience? We would be foolish not to let our member be served in that manner. So,
good to know.
That's who we are as a company. Yeah.
Wonderful. And do you offer any type of support for people traveling from state to state if they need to ask about laws that differ from their home state?
Yes. We actually have a multi-state coverage endorsement that we can add to our plan for very little cost. As you know, we're already the most value-centered in cost.
Yes.
But for a few extra dollars, you can add multi-state coverage for those who travel a lot.
Wonderful.
And you can add it when you know you're going to travel and then drop it if you want to. We welcome that. But I will tell you, there are a lot of areas in the country, like the border of Idaho, for example, and Washington. So you've got folks who live in Idaho that travel over to Washington every day. If they need that coverage of multi-state, we offer it.
Absolutely.
So that's a blessing for us. And I can tell you, we also offer bail bond coverage. Not everybody believes in it. I can tell you that it's one of our most used protections because a lot of times when folks are in a situation where they've been charged with a matter, even unfortunately, and those are most of the cases, usually there's a bail involved. So we have a bail bond endorsement, and we'll be happy to cover that bail in that situation. Had a lot of situations like that, so
interesting. Does bail coverage give you a better chance of achieving better legal representation because you're able to get out and speak to more people and you're not as limited with communication, or what is that?
Well, our attorneys are already on it regardless of whether there's bail coverage or not. But what it enables you to do is if for some reason, and we've seen this a lot, we are an apolitical company, but we have seen this a lot in more blue states, if I can use that term, where bail is higher.
Yes.
And if you've got a $50,000 cash bail, it's not easy for a family to come up with that kind of money.
Absolutely.
If you've got bail bond coverage with us,
oh my gosh,
we'll wire the money overnight.
That's incredible.
We'll wire it very quickly.
That's incredible.
So we've bailed some folks out with big bail, and so it's really important to us to make sure it's there. So.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so good to know. Quick pause here, Brendan, my editor, just letting him know. Where are we at time-wise? 11:12. Okay, thank you so much.
Do you have another camera battery?
Is it say low battery, or is it just like on a low percentage right now?
This one's on a low percentage.
Okay, we'll be good. I'll switch it out for. Perfect. Yeah.
Right now.
Thank you so much. It'll last until this wrap up. Do you
and
feel?
I've got about 5 minutes.
Okay. Would you say there's? Thank you both.
Thank you both.
Is there anything that you feel would be beneficial to talk about before we end? Just that we didn't cover. My goal is to not convince someone of getting coverage to just get coverage because they should trust me, but I think there's so much that goes unexplained with policies out there, and it's a very anxiety-provoking thing to just like pick one. You know what I mean? And I want the listener to want to go and learn more, want to visit the website and see these rates that you've already said are very reasonable because they are. But I guess we're just rolling back into it now. I'll say, is there anything about Right to Bear that we didn't discuss today that you would love the listeners to know? Okay, I'm ready. Go for it.
So do you want to ask that question, or are we still filming?
We're still filming. So whenever you're ready, I would love for you to jump right into. Okay, I'll cue him. Here we go. All right, Brendan, cut. We need to get a sign.
I love her.
Thank you. All right, Frank, well, we're coming up on the end of the episode. I've got just one more interview today. I wish we could talk for hours more. I would love to know, though, before we go, what did we leave out about Right to Bear that would make a listener want to go learn more and ultimately choose you all? Because I hope they do. So,
thank you.
Absolutely.
You know, one of our fastest growing sectors of our business is houses of worship and the security that they need to stay in time.
Right.
Some of our competitors have chosen not to enter that realm of protection because it borders on the professional liability line. At Right to Bear, it's one of our important missions. Our growth in houses of worship and their security is of key importance to us in our mission and ministry. So we are aligned with the Faith-Based Security Network, with Christian Warrior out of Idaho, and a lot of very key partners to make sure that security in houses of worship, not just churches, but synagogues. So I want to make sure that people know it's a key element of our coverage. I'll also tell you that one of the most alarming things, we extend coverage to our heroes in blue. We believe that 24/7, 365, they put their life on the line every day for us. The unfortunate thing we're seeing right now, Sophia, and this will probably come as a shock to you, but we've got cases around the country where our heroes in blue are being wrongfully charged with matters like police brutality, and their union or their legal municipality fund is choosing not to provide counsel up front because of the politicization or the racial lines of the matter. So they've been leaving our heroes basically, for lack of a better word, alone, and leaving them in the dark. And then they're charged, and they're trying to, an activist DA is trying to indict them. We're defending them. We're protecting them.
Incredible.
And I respect our competitors. You've heard me say that. But some want the off-duty protection for our heroes, but they don't want the on-duty.
Right.
We're doing both. We're covering security forces in church. We're covering our heroes in blue, our men and women that are first responders and EMT. We're covering security guards. In fact, I will tell you, armed and unarmed security guards are a mission statement for us. Two of our largest claims right now, I don't mind sharing, are armed security guards that were simply trying to do their job.
Right.
And then they find themselves with a situation with an activist DA that decides, hey, you didn't have to use your firearm in this matter. Well, when it comes down to your life, we never know what we would do in that case.
Absolutely.
But right to bear is going to be with our family. So thanks for letting me
I love
share.
that. Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I would imagine it's an incredibly tough line to walk, not only for police officers on duty, but off duty. To have, I spoke with a woman who went to ECQC. I laughed a little bit. She's the only other woman there. I went to a combatives course recently, and it's usually mostly law enforcement, a little bit of civilian, a little bit of military, usually retired. We were talking, and a lot of the drills we did, I was like, well, are you training on behalf of being a police officer or more like a citizen? And she was like, well, I have trouble with that. Like, I don't know that I could just watch someone get harmed, like, for the, and so I can't imagine being in that type of moral dilemma in the moment, knowing that, you're off duty technically, so the way you use your firearm and the legal ramification of that changes. For police officers, do you cover them while on duty as well as off duty?
Yes.
Okay, that's huge.
And it's huge. And we also cover them outside their jurisdiction.
That's wonderful.
A lot of their coverages basically stem from only protecting them in their jurisdiction. And not all, but some. Right. And so we want to make sure that our heroes in blue are well protected. They're important to us.
I love that so much. I work around a lot of law enforcement, so I feel excited to have this new resource to share because, typically they don't need my resources. They've got everything and they've got a lot of training support typically. But wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Frank. Is there anything you would like to leave the listeners with before we end the episode?
I want to thank you for just the opportunity to share our heart, our vision with you. I think what truly separates us, and I've mentioned this before, is the culture. But here's what we believe. Our members don't need us until they need us. Mm-hmm. And when they need us, Sophia, we better be there. You see, people don't care how much I know until they know how much I care.
That's incredible.
That's who we are.
I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate your time.
For you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, what a blessing.